Yeah,
touch
let's
on
answer this for Andrew. Yeah,
Andrew. Yeah.
go ahead.
No, Andrew's asking which right now is the better buy, Pulse or PulseX, and I really recommend. I talked to Andrew the other night. I think it's wise to stay pretty even on both allocations because they're both deflationary. And the more people that come on board with PulseChain, the more tokens get burned that way. With PulseX, we rely on the exchange to burn the tokens there. So, the volumes have been pretty good lately, staying consistent anyway. It's not as hot and heavy as it was when it first launched, but I think we've got 200. Oh, wait, let me share this.
The amount that's been burned.
Yeah. So share this, and you've got so far 134 billion pulse have been burned. A lot of those came from the validators that went offline, but still, that's quite a bit. And then you've got 253 billion PulseX, and that's only 0.177%. It's kind of funny that number is that low, but that is also pretty bullish. So if it were me, Andrew, I would keep your allocations, somewhat across the board. That way you can't go wrong. Why try and pick one winner when you can be right by spreading it out a little bit within the ecosystem? So just my opinion.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's what I said in the chat too. It's for me, I want them evenly, and I'm buying them evenly. And when I say evenly, I mean in dollar terms. Obviously, clearly, I mean you're going to have more PulseX than you are Pulse by tokens if you're just buying them evenly dollar wise. Which one do I think will do better even from this point right now? Well, with PulseChain, I know that wasn't the question, but I'm volunteering it. With PulseChain being actually at sack rate and PulseX, even on that huge of a discount, I still think PulseChain is going to be the one to beat really here, obviously. And I think most people think that too at this point, even though there was that big narrative of like, I think just because more people held PulseX that they wanted it to be true, that it was going to outperform it. And it is great. I mean, like the buy and burn function, as you just talked about, Ewok, is fantastic. I think it's going to do really well. But traditionally, the DEX does not outperform the L1. But at the same time, and there's a lot of firsts here. And that's the thing that I think we have to keep remembering with this chain: the system state copy of Ethereum, and then the first of the DEX and the L1 were launched simultaneously.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that have never happened. I still think PulseChain does better. We're seeing it already so far, even though it's only been 2 months. But I do think over the course of this cycle and future cycles, PulseChain will do better. But I'm with you 100%. I want to own both about equally, because the other thing is too, even though we have seen PulseChain massively outperform it, that's not even necessarily true. It hasn't really massively outperformed it. It's maintained that 1 to 3-ish ratio pretty much the entire time, which is actually kind of bullish for PulseX. So for me, I want to own both, because if that ratio does get weird or risk on, risk off one way or the other, I would want to go from one into the other. So
sure,
give yourself options, like you said. So